Book of Heaven, Volume 11. The 4th of November to the 21st of December 1914. Page 86 to 92. November 4, 1914. The new and continuous way to meditate the hours of the Passion. I was doing the hours of the Passion, and Jesus, all pleased, told me, "My daughter, if you knew what great satisfaction I feel in seeing you repeating these hours of my Passion, always repeating them, over and over again, you would be happy. It is true that my saints have meditated my Passion and understood how much I suffered, melting in tears of compassion, to the extent of feeling consumed for love of my pains. However, not in this continuous manner, always repeated and in this order. Therefore, I can say that you are the first one to give me this taste, so great and special, as you keep fragmenting within you, hour by hour, my life and all that I suffered. I feel so attracted that, hour after hour, I give you this food and I eat the same food with you, doing what you do together with you. Know that I will reward you abundantly with new light and new graces even after your death. Each time the souls on earth will do these hours of my Passion, in heaven I will clothe you with ever new light and glory." November 6, 1914. The good that the hours of the Passion produce for Jesus and for the soul who does them. As I continued the usual hours of the Passion, my adorable Jesus told me, "My daughter, the world is in continuous act of renewing my Passion, and since my immensity envelopes everything, inside and outside the creatures, I am forced to receive from their contact, nails, thorns, scourges, scorns, spits and all the rest which I suffered in the Passion, and still more. Now, at the contact with souls who do these hours of my Passion, I feel the nails being removed, the thorns shattered, the wounds soothed, the spits taken away. I feel compensated by good for the evil that others do to me. Feeling that their contact does not do harm to me, but good, I lean more and more on them." Furthermore, returning to speak about these hours of the Passion, blessed Jesus said, "My daughter, know that by doing these hours the soul takes my thoughts and makes them her own. She takes my reparations, my prayers, desires, affections, and even my most intimate fibers and makes them her own. So, rising up between heaven and earth, she does my same office, and as co-redemptrix, she says to me, Ecce ego, midi me, here I am, send me. I want to repair for all, answer to you for all, and plead good for all." November 20, 1914. The Great War is only the beginning of the chastisements. The state of victim of Luisa is linked to the events of the world. Divine will and love must form in Luisa, just like in Jesus, his Passion and therefore his life. I was feeling very afflicted because of the privations of blessed Jesus and, even more, for the chastisements which are currently pouring down upon earth, and about which many times Jesus had spoken to me many years before. It really seems to me that, during so many years in which he has kept me in bed, we have been sharing the weight of the world, suffering and working together for the good of all creatures. It seems to me that the state of victim, in which adorable Jesus had placed me, bound all the creatures together, between me and him. There was nothing that Jesus would do, nor chastisement he would send, without letting me know. And in the meantime, I would behave with him in such a way that he would either reduce the chastisement by half, or not send it at all. Oh, how I grieve at the thought that Jesus may have drawn all the weight of the creatures upon himself, leaving me aside, as if unworthy to work together with him. But there are more afflictions. In the darting little visits that he makes, he keeps telling me that the wars and the scourges which are occurring now, are still nothing, while it seems that they are too much. That other nations will go to war, and not only this, but that they will wage war against the Church, attack sacred people and kill them. How many churches will be profaned? In reality, for about 2 years I have omitted writing about the chastisements which Jesus very often showed to me. Partly because they were repetitions, and partly because writing about chastisements hurts me so much that I just cannot continue. However, one night, while I was writing what he had told me about his most holy will, and having skipped what he had told me about the chastisements, Jesus reproached me sweetly and told me, "Why didn't you write everything?" And my love, it didn't seem necessary to me. Moreover, you know how much I suffer. And Jesus, my daughter, if it were not necessary, I wouldn't have told you. Furthermore, since your state of victim is linked to the events that my providence disposes on the creatures, and since this link between you, myself and the creatures, as well as your sufferings in order to prevent chastisements appear from your writings, this gap would be noticed. This would appear as clashing and incomplete, and I do not know how to do clashing and incomplete things. Shrugging my shoulders, I, bad one, said, "It is too hard for me to do this, and then, who is going to remember everything?" Jesus added smiling, "And if after your death I will put in your hands a pen of fire in purgatory, what will you say?" So, that's why I made up my mind to mention the chastisements. I hope that Jesus will forgive my omission, and I promise to be more diligent in the future. Now I go back to say that, as I was very afflicted, Jesus came and, in order to cheer me, took me in his arms and told me, "My daughter, be of good cheer. One who does my will is never apart from me. Rather, she is together with me in the works that I do, in my desires, in my love. She is together with me in everything and everywhere. Even more, I can say that since I want everything for me, affections, desires, etc. of all the creatures, if I don't have them, I remain around the creatures with the attitude of making a conquest. So, finding the satisfaction of my desires in the soul who lives in my will, my desires rest within her, my love takes rest in her love, and so on with all the rest." Then he added, "I gave two great things which, as one could say, formed my own life. My life was my will and my love. I enclosed everything in these 2 points, divine will and love. This will and this love carried out my life within me, and accomplished my passion. I want from you nothing but this, that my will be your life, your rule, and that you do not escape from it in anything, either small or big. This will and this love will carry out my passion in you. The closer you will be to my passion, the more you will love me and will feel my passion in you. If you let my will and my love flow as life within you, my passion will flow in you as well. You will feel it flowing in each one of your thoughts, in your mouth. You will feel your tongue being soaked in it. Your word will come out as warmed by my blood, and you will speak eloquently about my pains. Your heart will be filled with my pains. Every expression of your being will carry the mark of my passion, and I will keep repeating to you, always, 'Here is my life, here is my life.' I will delight in making you surprises, narrating to you now one pain, now another one, which you haven't heard or understood yet. Aren't you happy?" December 17, 1914. How the soul in the divine will can make a living Eucharist of her being. Continuing in my usual state and being very afflicted because of the privations of Jesus, after much suffering he came, making himself seen in all my poor being. It seemed to me as if I were the garment of Jesus. Then, breaking the silence, he told me, "My daughter, you too can form the hosts and consecrate them mystically. Do you see the garments that cover me in the sacrament? They are the accidents of the bread from which the host is made. The life which exists in this host is my body, my blood and my divinity. My supreme will is the act which contains this life. This will develops the love, the reparation, the immolation and all the rest that I do in the sacrament. The sacrament never moves 1 point from my volition. There is nothing that comes from me which is not led by my volition. Here is how you too can form the host. The host is material and totally human. You too have a material body and a human will. This body and will of yours, as long as you keep them pure, upright and far away from any shadow of sin, are the accidents, the veil in order to consecrate me and make me live hidden in you. But this is not enough. It would be like the host without consecration. My life is needed. My life is composed of sanctity, love, wisdom, power, etc., but the engine of all is my will. So, after you prepared the host, you have to make your will die in it. You must cook it well, so that it may not rise again. Then you have to let my will permeate all your being, and my will, which contains all my life, will form the true and perfect consecration. Therefore, there will be no more life for human thought, but only for the thought of my volition, which will consecrate my wisdom inside your mind. No more life for what is human, weakness, inconstancy, because my will form the consecration of the divine life, of fortitude, of firmness, and of all that I am. So, each time you let your will flow into mine, I will renew the consecration of your desires, and of all that you are and that you can do. I will continue my life in you as if in a living host, not a dead one, like the hosts without me. But this is not all. In the consecrated hosts, in the pyxes, in the tabernacles, everything is dead, mute. Not the sensitivity of a heartbeat, not a rush of love which may return my great love. If I didn't wait for hearts in order to give myself to them, I would be very unhappy. I would remain defrauded of my love, and my sacramental life would remain without purpose. Though I tolerate this in the tabernacles, I would not tolerate it in living hosts. In the sacrament I want to be fed with my own food. The soul will take possession of my will, my love, my prayers, my reparations, my sacrifices. She will give them to me as if they were her own things, and I will nourish myself. The soul will unite with me, pricking up her ears in order to hear what I am doing, and to do it together with me. So, as she keeps repeating my own acts, she will give me her food, and I will be happy. Only in these living hosts will I find the compensation for my loneliness, my starvation, and all that I suffer in the tabernacles. December 21, 1914. Just as the humanity of Jesus placed itself between the creatures, with their sins, and the Father, so does Luisa, being identified with Jesus. I was in my usual state and blessed Jesus, coming all afflicted, told me, "My daughter, I can't take the world any more. Relieve me for all, let me palpitate in your heart, so that in hearing the heartbeats of all through the heartbeats of your heart, sins may not come to me directly, but indirectly, through your heart. Otherwise, my justice will send chastisements never seen before." In the act of saying this, he identified his heart with mine, making me feel his heartbeat. Who can tell all that I could feel in it? Sins, like flashes, wounded that heart, and as I shared in it, Jesus felt relieved. Then, as I felt completely identified with him, it seemed as if I was enclosing his intelligence, his hands, his feet, and all the rest, and I shared in all the offenses of creatures against each one of the senses. But who can tell how this happened? Then Jesus added, "To have company in my pains is the greatest relief for me." This is why my Divine Father was not so inexorable after my incarnation, but milder. He no longer received direct offenses, but indirect ones. That is, through my humanity, which was a continuous shield for him. In the same way, I keep searching for souls who may place themselves between me and the creatures. Otherwise I will make of the world a heap of ruins.